Hello to the entire the young Caribbean God back at you again. I am on Ra with another one of our heated videos, man. But today on this episode, we're gonna be interviewing, this young God, even from North America. We just gonna call him Monte for now. We don't want to be exposing no one on the show. You get me? But fundamentally, this show is gonna be about is Islam the way? Is Islam right good for our people? Okay? So without any further ado, I'll let Bedouin introduce himself and then we'll get right. Go ahead, Monte.
Okay, you had went out for a second there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You sound clear.
All right, peace. Yeah. So peace, man. What's going on with you, bro?
Everything cool, man. You know what I mean? It's like when you find out what's going on, it's like your whole agenda changed. You know what I mean? So, a lot of things change for the better. I can't say that from the other people's perspective who not coming into the consciousness, I'm just now beginning my scholar work, actually, you know what I mean? But I have come across a vast variety of information that, it hit me hard. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, you know what I mean? This type of stuff, you know what I mean, coming into the consciousness, it turns little boys into men, And
Straight up. I hear that.
My ancestors are disciplining me. I've been chastised by the ancestors.
I hear that. Well, like I said, the topic is going to be, the topic is Islam right for our people. So we're going to be asking you some questions because fundamentally you used to be part of this religion. Am I correct?
Yeah. I was Muslim for a few years. Like, it was on and off throughout my time of growing up. The first time I was attracted to it because I was raised up in the Baptist church, you know what I mean? And I come from a long line of Christians. My grandfather was a Christian, you know what I mean? He was a pastor, actually, and he produced other pastors in the family and people who were of that stature in the church. And what happened was, the second time I took a shahada, was because I believe that I saw some pictures online of some ancient Kemetic people doing some type of prayer ritual. So I took that as, wow, you know what I mean? In my ignorance, I believed that they were making salat. So this is before I really started looking at dates of things, and this is what really challenged me to start actually looking at the dates of things, because that's very important, because you could become very confused if you don't know the chronological order of events. And what happened was, I believe that the Egyptians, being Muslim today, were somehow connected to Islam because of this sort of prayer that they were doing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And what brought me out of that?
Okay, but before we really get into it, I want to just ask you, right? How were you introduced to the religion?
I was introduced to the religion. I grew up having an identity crisis for years. I wanted to know who I was, where's my DNA come from. You can't just expect a young man to grow up and tell me that I'm black and that we come from slavery and then that's all. I'm smarter than that. You know what I mean? My soul has always had a longing to be in one with the universe. And that guided me towards Africans naturally. Started hanging around a lot of Caribbeans, a lot of African people from different parts of the world. And some of the first people that I hung around were Somalians, East Africans. So they convinced me that this is my God. They introduced me to Arabs. They told me Allah's the way. There's no prophet but Muhammad. And, and me being a naturally good-hearted and good-spirited person, I'm attracted to anything that sounds like it's connected to the universe or God. Anything that sounds good, you know what I mean, of good nature, of good stature, of good morality, I'm gonna go towards it. I naturally gravitated towards these people.
Okay, so the thing is, I think that's just true basically for all black people because I think that we are really spiritual people. So anything that has the word God or this sort of spiritual aspect to it, we will gravitate to it. You know what I mean? So I
Word,
felt, yeah. So I think you probably just fell in that same trap. You know what I mean? Because as a people, like I said, as black people, we're just deeply spiritual. So the next
word.
question, the next question I'll ask you is, could you expound on some of the practices? Because I heard you mention something in your introduction about salat, and you mentioned something else. Just can't remember what it was. Where's my pants?
Yeah, salat is what you pray, you know what I mean? That's what you pray, you know. Like when you anytime you go
We're not seeing
and
you though. We're not seeing you though. I'm only seeing your. Okay, cool. Don't know if
oh
you could get.
really?
Yeah.
Hold on. Can you see me now?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you go and you make salat, you know, it's a process. You know what I mean? You don't just go and pray. You can't do that because there's no telling if you was running around the streets or you was doing something, you know what I mean, if you was dirty or you know what I'm saying? Or you know what I mean, you might have been with a woman, you know. In that case, you will have to take a shower. Some people have to take a shower, wash your hair 3 times, you know what I mean? You wash each, you know what I mean, different parts of the body a certain amount of times, you know what I mean, with the feet being last. You know what I mean? And what happens is, but after you do that, that's considered a wudu. And after you do that, then you go and make salat. You know, at the time that you're making salat, you basically standing on holy ground. You know, you get the prayer rug. Some people like to call it the magic carpet. You know what I mean? And you, and you step on that. I actually have one in here. You know what I mean? I don't use it for the same purpose anymore. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show you what it looked like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even want you to
Um,
move because the reception. I don't. The reception to mess.
My
Oh,
bad.
see. I
This
see.
is
I
this
see.
is what I'm talking about right here. When you pray, you gotta sit on one of these. But I'm over here where the connection is good.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
So they call this the magic carpet?
No, they call it. The ironic thing about it is they call it the sun. Some of them call it a sun. Some of them call it the a prayer rug. You know what I mean? Hold on. Can you? Oh yeah, my bad. Hold on. One sec. All right.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and you have to step on that barefooted. You cannot wear socks when you're about to pray to God. Nothing should be on your feet. You have to wear pants that come down past the ankles. You cannot wear shorts when you're praying. You know, if you mess up on a prayer, you have to start all over again. You know what I mean? If you miss the word, you have to start all over again. You know what I mean? You have to praise Allah. You have to give praise to Allah before you even start reciting any surahs. The crazy part about it is one of my friends called it a son. I'm still friends with a lot of my Somalian brothers. You know what I mean? We still cool. You know what I mean? We still, you know what I mean? Some don't like me, some of them do, you know what I mean? But at the same time, this is my journey, my path. But the weird part about it was I heard my one of my friends call it the sun, you
The
know? And
sun,
I'm thinking he
like
called
as
it
in
the sun.
SUN.
Yeah, one time I was over his house and I was about to pray, and he was like, he told his mom that he asked me that I need a son. I said, yeah. He like, get the sun right there. I'm like, that's weird. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay.
So that kind of tripped
Damn.
me out a
And you
little
were
bit.
telling
But
me about one practice. And you were telling me about one practice where when you enter the bathroom, you got to say something in Islam so the angel on your shoulder could leave your shoulder wait for you.
yeah, yeah. Anytime you walk into a room, especially the bathroom, you know, you have to. I never really got a chance to actually translate a lot of the Arabic phrases that I was learning. You know what I mean? That I was saying. You know, because you have to learn Arabic. Like that's one of the first things that they make you do when you become a Muslim. You have to start learning Arabic immediately. And before you walk into a room, you have to say Bismillah. You know what I mean? Because it's like you asking God to protect you, asking Allah's protection before you walk into this room, you know? Everything you do, you have to say Bismillah. If you're about to put some food in your mouth, you gotta say Bismillah. If you're about to enter a room or a vehicle, you gotta say Bismillah. You know what I mean? And when you are about to walk inside of the bathroom is one of the strangest places, one of the most unclean places that a human being could be in. So you will have to seek God's protection before you walk into this bathroom, because there are some spirits called jinn. You know what I mean? There's genie that dwell in unclean places, and they take different shapes and forms of different living things. And you have two angels on your shoulder, you know, and even the jinn, they have to respect Allah, even though they are wicked. You got good jinn, you got bad jinn, but the bad jinn are the ones who dwell in the places. The bathroom is where you go and clean. You're not allowed to speak in the bathroom. You have to say Bismillah. You got to seek Allah's protection when you walk in the bathroom. The angels that are behind you on your shoulder, you have to they accompany you anywhere you go. So they cannot go into an unclean place with you. So you will have to say Bismillah before you walk into the bathroom. And you cannot walk into the bathroom without shoes on your feet. You have to have something covering your feet. None of your skin is not allowed to touch the floor of the bathroom. So the angels, what they do is they wait outside the bathroom for you until you come out. And anything that you say, it cannot be written down by these angels. These angels accompany you because they like FBI agents, basically. You know what I'm saying? They copy everything that you say. And the day that you die, you know, and you go to get questioning, you go to judgment, or you go to reckoning, these angels it's like they tell you that everything that you ever did in your life is written down already. And when you die, you have no mouth. You cannot speak. Everything in your body speaks for you. You know, it's weird. And then when you come out the bathroom, you have to say, you have to put one foot right on the doorway and you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And what that does, that allows the angels to accompany you again in your life and start copying down everything that you say and you do.
Straight up.
Crazy.
Okay, I hear that. So I just got a quick question on there, right? You said that everything in your life is already written down.
They say that Allah, everything that you're going to do, Allah knows what you're going to do before you even do it. But at the same time, if Allah knows everything that you're going to do before you do it, then why does he feel the need to have these Jibril, as they call them, accompany you everywhere you go and copy everything down that you do and everything you say?
So
that doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense. You know what I mean? Now, all what you explained about the two angels being on your shoulder, that's according to the religion, right? That's according to the mythology, the religion.
Absolutely. Everywhere you go, you got two angels following you around everywhere you go. It's a beautiful concept, but it just has so many contradictions that tag along with it, you know? And it gets kind of spooky at times, you know, because you're like, damn, everywhere I go, I can't do nothing. I have a choice in life. I thought I was in control of the choices that I wanted to make. But at the same time, everything I'm going to do is already written down. That's when I realized that this religion is actually a superstition. And me, I don't like walking on eggshells nowhere I go. You know what I'm saying? I let them hang. You feel me? It's
I
not
hear
like
that.
me. I
I
let
hear
them hang.
that.
Just like you let your dreads hang, you know? It's like everywhere you go, somebody telling you that you got to keep your dreads tied up all day. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't never allowed to just let your dread you swing. You ain't allowed to swing your dreads, man. That's crazy. You might as well cut them off.
Exactly. Exactly. So the thing is, when you said that everything is written down, I was wondering, is there no such thing as free will in Islam? Because if everything is written down, it doesn't appear or it doesn't seem like a Muslim has free will.
Everything that you do good is accompanied with Allah. And everything that you do bad is blamed on Shaitan. Shaitan is Lucifer, is Satan, it's the devil, the evil one, the wicked one, the one who they say he whispers in your ear. And I don't know where they got the gender from, but these entities, these deities, evil or good, have genders. And that's kind of weird too. You know what I mean? But back to what you were saying, you know what I mean? You have free will, but it's taken away from you at a second's notice by another Muslim. They will tell you that, oh, Shaitan's whispering in your ear, don't listen to him. Or somebody wants you to do something for them. They might want to borrow some money, and you might say, no, I ain't got it today. I ain't trying to do that. It might say, oh, well, don't let Shaitan whisper in your ear, or if you about to do something like, like you might want to seek revenge on the enemy or something like that. Sometimes they say you allowed to do that if your life is in danger or something like that. But if you want to get put in some work with somebody or something like that, they will say that Shaitan is whispering to you. Don't listen to that. So it's a lot of people using these superstitions to their advantage, and they turn out to be contradictions.
Okay, cool. So what turned you away from Islam though? Because you seem like you were like you were actually falling for the whole script, really. And like you say, it's a nice concept. To be honest, I've only seen the concept of the two angels on the shoulders in cartoons, man. I've only seen
In Christianity, you have a devil on one shoulder and you got an angel on the other one.
Yeah.
But in Islam, you got two angels. You got two Jibril on your shoulder. You got two Gabriels following you around everywhere you go. What turned me away from Islam was when I started seeing a lot of Muslims, they not really being true to the religion. And then sometimes they would look at me and surprised that I was actually praying 5 times a day. And I was arguing with a lot of Muslim people about some of the things that they was doing that was against the religion. You know what I mean? And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. A man is not going to do, if a man really truly believes in his heart that he's going the right path, there's nothing that you could do to stray him away from that. So it was something, and it wasn't just Shaitan distracting people from following the Quran. It wasn't in their hearts. I've seen a lot of Muslims do some scandalous stuff, man, behind the scenes. And, you know what I'm saying, not to downplay everybody, but they know me. I'm going to keep it all the way 100, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you believe in something, or if you actually have something in your heart, ain't no straying away from that path. So truthfully, if I see you acting in a way that doesn't align with something that you a member of, or this was passed down from generation to generation, that means you don't believe in it. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And the other thing is I had confused myself, actually. I was caught up in another dimension where I believe that the ancient Egyptians were practicing Salat based on the pictures I had seen. But I was wondering how come I couldn't find many pictures of Egyptians praying, look like they make a Salat. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And once I realized, once I started looking at the dates on things, I started realizing, like, wait a second, these Egyptians came before Islam. Islam came in 7th AD. Arabic wasn't even a written religion until, I believe, 200 years after Muhammad's death, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Egyptians were first, so everything they did was first. It was primary, you know what I'm saying, on this earth. So that's when I realized I had made a mistake. Yeah.
Monte, I wasn't hearing you for like a minute. I think you need to repeat what you just said though. The connection was
okay. Poor. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I realized that I had made an extreme mistake against my ancestors, the people who were here first. One thing about me is I cannot deny the truth. I'm a truth seeker. You know what I mean? And I always had a spirit that was able to accept facts and truth, regardless of the fact of whether I like them or not. I learned valuable lessons growing up in my city, and I realized, you know what I'm saying, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. You know what I mean? I running the streets for years, you know what I mean? No supervision. So everything that I seen, I had to accept it. There was nobody around to really shelter me from the truth. You know, so I had front row seats to the real life show, the real world show. So that taught me to have discipline and be able to accept a lot of things that life throws at me. And once I realized that I made a mistake when I realized the time periods in which these events had happened. The Egyptians came first. So anything after that had to be either a replica or some sort of copy. You know what I mean? And that's when I realized, like, hold on, wait a second. The Egyptians wasn't, if they was making salat, they didn't get it from Islam because Islam didn't come till later. Anything that happens after that event, I'm like, hold on, wait a second, wait a second. And I'm like, hold on. Now I see why a lot of Muslims are breaking these Quranic laws. You know what I mean? Because they're out of touch with their ancestors. And that's when I realized I was out of touch with my ancestors by following it. The Egyptians wasn't copying Islam. Islam was copying the Egyptians.
The Egyptians. Facts, 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 man. Facts.
So
So
I had to
let's
take
turn
the
up the
kufi
heat,
off.
yeah? So
I had to
let's turn
take off the kufi and put it in the closet, man.
so the kufi is what? The kufi is your hat or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, Kufi is represented as a crown of knowledge, and knowledge, wisdom, it's your dignity. It's everything basically that made you who you are. You know what I mean? Like a crown of knowledge. A man that wears a Kufi, that is a clear sign that he is in the knowledge of Islam. He is a slave of Allah, a
Well,
servant of
this is
Allah.
well, this is my kufi right here, man. This is my kufi right here. You see what I'm
Respect.
saying?
Word.
This is my kufi right here. But let's turn up the heat a bit, yeah? Let's go into pre-Islamic history, which I think they refer to as the Jahiliyyah period, right? Which was basically before Allah, before the worship of Allah. It was said that
Yeah.
pre-Islam Arabia worshipped about 360 deities. Can you get into that a bit?
Oh, Islam was worship of 360 deities. That's the story, you know what I mean? There were some people called the Sabians, you know what I mean? And Saba is like the root word. Oh man. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. You can share your screen if you like.
Yeah, this phone is overheating. This Skype thing, I got a cheap phone right now. Yeah, yeah, Jahiliyyah. It was like, it says 610 CE right here. That was considered the age of ignorance. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now.
Okay.
Jahiliyyah was the age of ignorance.
Again, we can't really see you, but you can share your
Oh,
screen if you're using your laptop. You can share your screen or just turn your phone to the computer so we can actually see what's going on.
yeah, this is on Wikipedia. You can look, you can type this word in and it'll tell you some things about Al Jahiliyyah. You know what I mean? And Al Jahiliyyah was the age of ignorance. And you know, they labeled that as a time. Anytime they got like, anytime people have a certain time period before they actually became a civilization or a civilized people, they label it something. I think that's their way of trying to cover up the knowledge that they did not have. So what we need to be asking is, who were you during that time of Al Jahiliyyah? The age of ignorance, that's not gonna cut it with me. You know, it says around 610 CE, you know what I mean? Arabia, before the advent of Islam, is often translated as the age of ignorance. Jahiliyyah is derived from the verbal root jahala, to be ignorant or stupid, to act stupidly. You know, because after this time period, they felt like they were civilized people. They had a religion that was, you know what I mean, which is extremely similar with Christianity and the stories in the Bible. The biblical scriptures are like completely aligned with a lot of the sortas that's in the Quran. The people, the characters, they changed the consonants in the names and some of the vowels, and you know, it looked like somebody was trying to hide something. So I look at it like this. This is still Al Jahiliyyah for them in my book.
So, so to them, yeah, until they got the Quran and until Muhammad character showed up, basically we not even too sure of his existence because we had nothing about this guy until 200 years after his death, right? So
Yeah,
to them, Quran, they were basically living in ignorance.
yeah, pretty much. Because this was around the time where that was after the age of ignorance was over. You know what I'm saying? But before that time, they would have to tell you where they got the religion. They would have to break down where all these characters came from. Where did you get these Quranic scriptures and surahs? Where did the word Quran even originate? How did you guys just establish yourselves as um as Muslims? Where did this term come from? Who was Muhammad? There would be too many questions to answer, you know what I mean? And it would actually reveal a lot of things that's going on today that are actually wrong. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Even the food that I see a lot of Muslims eat is not accustomed to our nature, our DNA settings. You know what I mean? Genetically, we're not even supposed to be eating some of the stuff that they're eating. But they would have to answer a lot of questions. So I guess they summed it up all in one situation and just said, Al Jahiliyyah.
Okay,
And you're
but
supposed
don't
to
they
just
call the
accept
meat?
that.
But don't they refer to the meat as what is called? I think
Halal. Halal.
ah,
Anything that's Muslims eat or that's given approval by a sheikh or some type of imam or high person in the Islamic community is considered halal if the meat is fresh. You know what I mean? It's fresh kill. You know what I mean? It hasn't been sitting for weeks. It has to be halal. Opposite of halal is haram. So a lot of the stuff that you eating that's not halal is considered haram. And really, we're not supposed to be eating any kind of meat, anything with blood in it or starch, you know what I mean, or any animal that is killed in vain. Before they slaughter the animal, actually, they say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You know what I mean? They get permission from Allah before they kill this animal, you know what I mean, and then eat it. Which I figure, I mean, if you're gonna eat some meat, it might as well be a fresh kill. I mean, I guess that's healthier than eating some half decayed meat that's been sitting in the grocery store for 6 weeks. But at the end of the day, it doesn't align itself with the genetics that we have. We shouldn't be eating dead meat, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that. I hear that. So to them, once the sheikh, so the sheikh or the imam is basically what you would refer to as a priest in Christianity.
Yeah, that's like the priest or the rabbi or the pastor. Like in Christianity in the Baptist church, any questions that you have, you will bring it to the pastor or a deacon. And if the deacon can't help you, then he will refer you to the pastor. You know what I mean? And the pastor would set up an appointment where you could come meet up with him in the office or talk to him on the phone, where you can have time to break down he could break down your answers to your plight in a biblical way. You know what I mean? Every so it's just a bunch of mess, man. But I could see straight through it. You know, it ain't cool for real. You know what I mean? To be mentally or spiritually enslaved by some people who consider themselves in the age of al jahiliyyah. Facts are facts, and they need to be brought to the light. You know, just, okay, it was the age of ignorance, but more ignorance is not gonna help the last ignorant stage. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, yeah. I hear that. I hear that. Okay, but let's get into the language now. So where did this Arabic language come from? Is it a black man's language? Is it what is it? Because to me, the people that I know they refer to as Arabs, right?
Yeah,
Are
I mean,
basically
the crazy part is there were dark Arabs. Don't get me wrong, there were dark Arabs. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, the people of the motherland, you know, we came from the Nile Valley civilization, Nubia, Kush, and Kemet, the Nile Valley.
mhm.
And there was no Arabic writing in those times. So there was hieroglyphs, you know what I mean? There were pictures. The I'm not a scientist when it comes to the Medu Neter, but the small percentage of information that I have obtained, I can clearly tell you that the language speaks to you. Once you begin to come into it, it's like when you start to seek your ancestors, they reach out to you and they grab you. As soon as you let go, they let go of you. There was no Arabic. Arabic is a mixture of Aramaic and Syriac language. You know what I mean?
You say
There was,
the Arabic is a mixture of Syriac and which one?
yeah, Syriac and Aramaic, because I believe that, they had this situation going on in Iraq called the House of Wisdom. You know what I mean? That is in Iraq. There's actually a city in Iraq called Surah where they used to translate, and I think they still do today. They translate everything. The Jews in that country, they used to go. They were migrating to different countries, and wherever they went, they would snatch up information from that culture, and they would take it and they would transport it over to this House of Wisdom. And then the House of Wisdom, what they would do is they would translate everything into Arabic. See, the Arabians were Christians at this time. There was no Islam. That everything was under the Byzantine church. You know what I mean?
Byzantine
The
Empire.
Byzantine church, yeah, the Byzantine Empire. They got Byzantine coins with Muhammad on one side and Christian on the other side. You know what I mean? So with that being said, there's a lot of things that play into how did this language just develop out of nowhere. There's Aramaic words in it. There's over 275 Syriac terms in it.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh, okay. Hold on one second. I'm about to pull up something real quick.
Okay.
Uh, Actually, the term Allah. I was listening to a brother on Sinetta TV. His name was Shaka Amos, and he brought something to my attention about this thing called the Atra Haziz. It's a Sumerian tablet, and they talk about he pinpoints the first known mention of Allah. And it doesn't matter how you spell it, it's still Allah.
Okay. So,
What
do you
is
have
this?
if you had a link, we could have seen that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can get this to pop up on the phone real quick. I just had it up there. That's the crazy part. I don't even know how I did it.
Yes.
It says right here, I don't know if you can see that, but the Atra Haziz is a title of a 18th century BC Akkadian epic recorded in various versions on clay tablets. It's named for its protagonist, Atra Haziz, whose names mean exceedingly wise. You know what I mean? And the Atra Haziz tablets include both the creation myth and a flood account. They talk about a flood in there. There's a Sumerian kings list. And it talks about how Allah was some sort of warrior god. Allah is one of the many gods from the Damuzi cycle of gods. Allah was the king. He was the child of, I believe it's Enlil or Enlil. And hold on one second. I believe I have something right here. 1700 BC, Allah, the god of violence and revolution. It's WND, free press for free people. Published September 16, 2012. Researchers say Babylonian reference dates to 2 millennia before Muhammad. So I'm going to scroll down real quick and see if we can. It says right here that this guy named Theodore Shubat, the beginning of an epic Atra Haziz, describes Allah as how all the gods labored endlessly in grueling work under the rule of the patron deity Enlil or Elil. But soon revolt of the gods had erupted, and one deity of violence and revolution was named Allah, spelled by the experts Alla. And they they put parentheses around one of the lines that was written on the Ashra Hadith. It says, then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Come, let us carry Elil, the council of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. You know, it's very hard to actually find the tablets translated, you know, but I'm finding pieces that actually make sense with the brother that I told you about. Allah of the Babylonian epic of Ashra Hadith was most likely kept hidden by researchers who feared controversy or even concealed the find. See, they're telling you right here on this article right here that it's being hidden for a reason, to avoid controversy, because of all the things that have been placed in the masses' minds. And the epic Allah, translator spelled A-L-L-A, really pronounced the same way, was never even linked by any of the experts on Assyriology or any of the translators who wrote on the subject to the known Allah of Arabia and Islam. See, there really isn't any actual evidence of Allah and his living or in Islam. Is actually, you have to go into the history of Babylonia. Babylonia has more information on Allah than the Quran itself. So they're going to play semantics on you, and they're going to try to tell you like, oh, it's spelled different. That's a different Allah. No, this is the first time that this terminology has ever been used in history. It was on the Sumerian tablets. You know what I mean? So this isn't a lie. You can't make this up. Let me see if I got something else right here. What is this? Allah, his early paganism. Allah, his heritage from pagan gods. I don't know how I got that on the screen before, man. I'm gonna have to do some more lectures or something. I mean, I'm gonna have to do some more
interviews,
meetings with you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you did say that the earliest origin we get of Allah goes back to the Sumerian text, right?
Yeah, there's a book called The Depth of Mesopotamia where they actually talk about it in there. There's another book about Gilgamesh from the Mesopotamia, and he's mentioned in there. If you try to go on the web and search for it, it's gonna take you a long time before you can find the actual scriptures that were written on the tablets, because his name has been removed from various parts of this information. Seriously.
Okay, now within the Mesopotamian strip, there was a deity referred to as Hubble, okay? And they say that he was a god worshipped in pre-Islamic Arabia, notably by the Quraysh at the Kaaba in Mecca. The god's idol was a human figure believed to control acts of divination, which was performed by tossing arrows before the statue. The direction in which the arrows pointed answered questions asked of the idol. The origins of the cult of Hubble are uncertain, but the name is found in Nabatean inscriptions in northern Arabia. So some people actually say it was Hubble, the deity called Hubble, that was turned into Allah, because Hubble himself had three daughters, which is Almanat, Alat, and Almanat. Forget the third one name, Almanat, Al-Uzza, right, and Alat. Okay.
Yeah.
And basically, those three daughters are now in what they refer to as the satanic verses in the Quran.
Yeah, Al-Uzza was one of the people who got assassinated by an Arabian Muslim who because there were Arabian Christians and Arabian Muslims around this time, 7th century AD, I believe. That's 7th century CE. I believe that's around the time where they finally made up their minds and decided that they're going to pacify this doctrine and be subjected to it. And she was killed because of her being worshipped as an Arabian, one of the first early Arabian goddesses. It's a lot of Arabs that work at every single corner store in Cleveland. They don't talk about this. They don't like to mention that. You got very few who actually admit to it. But I believe Allah had a few names. Probably was Hubble. You know what I mean? I believe in the Old Testament, he was mentioned as Yahweh. He's mentioned as Al-Ilah, Elohim, Allah with an H, Allah with an A, you know, Yahweh Elohim, you know what I mean? Allah has many different names, you know what I mean, throughout the history of these people trying to create this religion.
Okay. Now, the thing is, when you said when you brought up a source for us not too long ago where it says that Allah is basically the God of violence and
Oh yeah,
destruction, right? The
yeah,
thing
I'm looking for
when
another one.
when you read in the Luciferian text in regards to the Old Testament deity called Yahweh, he was like a demiurge, and because he was a lesser god, he was actually an evil deity as well. So I could see the correlation where you said that Allah is basically Yahweh in the Old Testament, and that is probably why you still get a lot of the components and a lot of the characters in both the Old and New Testament in the Quran.
Yeah, I just pulled up a video right now with the it says OBV. I don't know what that stands for, but they're reading this right now. You can check it out, where they actually telling the story that is written on the Atra Haziz. Right here.
Come, let us carry Enlil, the Council of the Gods. I see that.
Gods had to dig out canals, had to clear channels, the lifelines of the land. Gods dug out the Tigris River and dug out the Euphrates. The deep set up the atmosphere of the land inside it, raised its top of all the mountains. They were counting the years of loads in the Great Marsh. They were counting the years of loads for 3,600 years. They bore the excess, hard work, night and day. They groaned and blamed each other, grumbled over the masses of excavated soil. Let us confront our.
Can you hear that?
We can hear it. It's not too loud, but if you listen closely, we can hear it for sure.
I'm gonna read it. It says they groaned and blamed each other, grumbled over the masses of excavated soil. Let us confront the Chamberlain and get him to relieve us of our hard work. Come, let us carry the Lord, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Now they talking about somebody is tired of working, and somebody is getting pissed off, and they ready to really turn up on somebody who's forcing these people to work. You know what I mean? Digging up all these rivers and stuff. And it says down here, come, let us carry Enlil. So they're about to go and carry Enlil, the counselor of the gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Then it says right here, you can see that. Then Allah, right there. It says, then Allah made his voice heard.
It's a bit too close. All right, cool.
Then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers, his brethren.
Hold on. And spoke to the gods, his brothers. I thought Allah was just one God. I thought there was no God but Allah. How comes he has brothers now? What's going on with this?
Allah has a gang. Allah is part of a syndicate of people called the Igigi, and they ain't no joke. They don't feel like working no more. He says at the bottom, he spoke to the gods, his brothers, come, let us carry Enlil. They talking about carrying Enlil. Enlil is his father, the counselor of the gods, the word from his dwelling. Yeah, now it says, now cry battle. Let us mix fight with battle. This is a Sumerian text. It's the Atra Haziz, creation of mankind. You know?
So the Atra Aziz, what is that?
The Atra Haziz is the name of the story, the tablets in which this story was found.
Okay, cool.
I believe this was found in Iraq.
Yeah, because that is where the god Hubble I was telling you about, that is where they have the first mention of that deity.
Yeah. And there's a story that talks about, it says right here, that it's a lot of stuff that happened, man. You really got to look it up. I don't know if we got enough time, but Allah was part of the Anunnaki. Anu was the grandfather, Enlil was the son, and Allah was Enlil's son. His brothers were the Igigi. Nintu, this is the name I was telling you about the other day. Nintu, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nintu is a female goddess who mixed clay. This is just one resource right here. Atra Hazi's Creation of Mankind, Ancient Astronaut Archive. That's what is written. I guess that's the people who you got to subscribe to.
Okay.
Atra Haziz.
All right. So listen here. So Allah is a male deity, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then in the Igbo tradition, which is in Nigeria, Allah is a female deity.
So you telling me, are the Igbo Muslims?
No, they're not.
So why do they have a terminology named Allah? Why do they have the word Allah in their language, in their linguistics?
So that should show you that the word Allah goes back to pre-Islamic times then.
The word Allah goes back before that, because I believe the Igbo was probably here before there was an Arabic language.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's not, this is not a mistake. You can't make this up. I studied a lot of people, looked at a lot of lectures, and I decided I'm going to go and check out some things myself. You know what I mean? And it says right here, I'm looking at this right here. This is at the top of the page. All I did was type it in right there, and it says Allah, Arabic, Romanized Allah, is the Arabic word for God in Abrahamic religions. You know what I'm saying? So he's in the Abrahamic Hebrewic religion as well. Allah was everywhere, you know, but at the same time, what I just showed you, that's the first time that it was mentioned in history on an Atra Haziz tablet.
Okay. But the thing is, right, Islam is also an Abrahamic religion. Is that not true?
Absolutely, I believe it, because everything was, before there was Arabic, everything was under Jewish rule. The House of Wisdom was under Jewish control. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't just.
We can also see the origins of this in the Old Testament, because when Abraham was to have a son with Sarah and she was barren, she asked him basically to have a son with her handmaid, with her servant, which was called Hagar. And he had the son named Ishmael. And God said, well, Yahweh said that Ishmael will build a great nation, but Ishmael is not the child of promise. And it was from the line of Ishmael that we get Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? So it all ties in. So they are part of the Abrahamic religion.
The Lion of Israel. What is that, Judah?
No, it actually ties in. What I said is that Ishmael, because remember the story of Abraham and Sarah? I'm not too sure if you're familiar with these Old Testament stories.
Abraham and Sarah. Sounds familiar, but you gotta replenish me on that one.
Yeah, basically Abraham, he was in the desert, right? He was in the desert, and he said the Lord came to him. Three men came to him, and he wanted to have a son, but his wife called Sarah, she was barren. She couldn't have any children. Okay, and then she now
Oh,
wanting to give Abraham a son, she was like, Abraham, you know what? You can go ahead and sleep with my servant and make her give you a son. And he did that, and he got a son called Ishmael. And when Sarah now began to see how Abraham was behaving with Ishmael, she got very jealous. And she asked Abraham to kick out her handmaiden, which was Hagar, and Ishmael, to kick them out into the desert. And then God came unto Abraham and told him, well, yeah, you can let them go, but from the lineage of Ishmael, he's going to build a great nation. Okay? And that is the
oh,
same lineage that Muhammad comes from. So this is how they tie
Muhammad was
into
from the Quraysh. He was from the Quraysh tribe, right?
the Quraysh tribe. That is correct. So if we trace that lineage back, we will see it falls in the lap of Ishmael, which is the son of Abraham and his wife's handmaiden or his wife's servant. So they are an Abrahamic religion, right? So they
Yeah.
fit to that same category of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, because you said earlier one of the very first Muslims were Christian. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. I'm looking at the House of Wisdom over here. It says that this right here, House of Wisdom, also known as the Grand Library of Baghdad, either a major Abbasid public academy, an intellectual center in Baghdad, or to a large private library belonging to the Abbasid caliphs during the Islamic Golden Age. The House of Wisdom is the subject of an active dispute over its functions, existence as a formal academy, an issue complicated by a lack of physical evidence following the collapse of Abbasid Caliphate. So they can't even put that on solid ground. And a reliance on corroboration of literary sources to construct a narrative. The House of Wisdom was founded either as a library for the recollections of the Caliph Harun al-Rashid in the late 8th century, then later turned into a public academy during the reign of al-Mamun, or was a private collection. See, they're trying to confuse us. They know what the hell this place is. You know what I mean? Contents were destroyed in
Yeah,
1258. But I just wanted to show you that there is a house of wisdom. The house of wisdom is actually where they were translating everything into Arabic. It was one of I think it was not the first, one of the first translation centers. Everything there had everything that was going to be put into any type of writing. It had to go through the house of wisdom first. And the house of wisdom, you know, Iraq is overrun with Jews, and you know what the Jews believe in. You know what I mean? So that wasn't really a Muslim place. There's a city of Surah over there. There's a place called, hold on, yeah, Surah.
okay, but it was said that Muhammad actually incorporated some of Judaism's concept, the monotheistic concept, into Islam, because as we can see in the Julian period, they were a polytheistic society worshiping many gods.
Muhammad didn't incorporate anything because it's already been established that Muhammad was unable to read the scriptures that are in the
Ha!
Quran.
I was going into that soon, you know. I got
Muhammad,
the
he wasn't illiterate, but I believe he couldn't understand Arabic. So I believe that Allah gave the scriptures to Muhammad so that he can give it to the world. You know what I mean? Give it to those people. You know what I mean?
okay.
And
Well, I got the Al Islam, which is the official website of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Okay. Now, before I read that, I'll just have to say that Islam, as we know it, there are basically two Muslim sects. There's the Sunni Muslim and the Shia Muslim, right? And
yeah,
basically, what divided them was that one was saying that the new leader should be elected as a result of a consensus, and the other says that the new leader should be a descendant or a relative of the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, but
I could see how that could be a problem.
exactly, and that basically brought the two. I mean, it separated the two Muslim sects. So we have the Sunni Muslim and the Shia Muslim, right? Now, what I'm going to get into here, I'm on the official website of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, okay? And it
Yeah,
says here, the first revelation after his marriage to Khadija, right? Khadija
yeah,
basically is Muhammad's wife, and if you
right.
need anything about that, he married Khadija when she was about six or nine. Six
Yeah,
or
it's
nine.
crazy.
Yeah, so
You
that's
can't be
15 years.
marrying no 6-year-olds, man. You know what happened to you? You know what happened? You seen what happened to Bill Cosby, and he was messing with grown women. You know what I mean? So you over here marrying
So
six
that's
year
to show
olds.
you this. So that's to show you there's pedophilia in Islam, bro.
That's
Because
because
I got some
pedophilia
pictures.
pedophilia originated. Pedophilia and homosexuality was extremely popular in early Christianity. You know what I mean? So being that these people have the same characters inside the Quran from Christianity, I would believe that the characters aren't the only thing that they adopted.